Hey listeners, it's Paul Andriola here. Why not join our community at Small Cap Discoveries, where we offer our members direct access to some of the best microcap investment opportunities available. Our members are getting access to premium microcap financings, research reports, and direct access to management. Sign up today at www.smallcapdiscoveries.com.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Small Cap Discoveries conference call. Today on our call, we have back the CEO, Hylton Karon from iFabric Corp. iFabric trades on the TSX exchange under the symbol IFA and on the OTC under IFABF. The company is currently trading at $3.09 with roughly 29.6 million shares outstanding, or about a $91.5 million market cap. I'd now like to hand it over to Paul Andriola.
Hey, thanks a lot, Trevor. Great to have Hylton back. Hylton, it's been, I'm going to say about 6 months since we last spoke. A lot has happened with the company since then. You're here to give us an update, which we really appreciate. And I'm just going to, before we sort of get into sort of questions or updates, I want to let everybody sort of refresh everybody in terms of what iFabric does and what you guys are all about.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Trevor. And thanks, everyone, for taking the time to hear the update. For those that aren't familiar with the company, we basically, everything is to do with soft surfaces and textiles. I'm third generation in the textile business. In 2007, besides having a successful clothing company that we sold mainly in North America, but in Europe as well, we became aware of technologies that apparel was no longer just the aesthetic. It was actual technology and performance attributes to impart into textiles. And the reason I'm doing this foray is because we're not a COVID direct story, and we're not going to be another company that, oh, they jumped on the COVID bandwagon. We started in 2007 to develop and do the science and do the research on antimicrobial and antiviral attributes in textiles or in soft surfaces. And we went public in 2012, spent multiple millions of dollars testing every competitor in the industry against what we came up with in our formulations and our unique applications. And what the market interest really is in our corporation is really our Intelligent Fabric Technologies division. And that's the division, if one delves into our last financial year, which we just came off of, that division, which we still believe is in its embryonic stage, went from 1 million to 4 million the year before to, I believe, close to 15 million this last year. And it is not inconceivable for that to be a $25 million division this financial year. We've just finished Q1, which is traditionally our softest quarter in our business. So we've got 3 really exciting quarters coming up. We've expanded from being just a technology company because we have the other division that is capable of manufacturing and designing apparel. A lot of our customer base have asked us to actually not only supply them with our unique technologies, but to supply them with a finished product. And it takes a 20 or 30 cent chemical sale, and now you're selling a $6 to $8 garment along with the chemical sale. So our exponential growth in terms of our revenue, and why we're so bullish, is we can pick up one account and it's a $10 million account. So when we say that in 2-3 years, we're looking at a $40-50 million company, that is internally the way we are poising ourselves for the next rollout in terms of what 2022, 23, and 24 look like. I think what is also important to understand, and if one looks at the financials, we work with companies well in advance of them putting the product on the shelves and at market. With that in mind, they have to work with their development team and our team to develop manufacturing the fabric, dyeing it, cut and sew, shipping it, distribution to their warehouses and then to their customers. what I'm trying to get at is we work almost a year in advance of product really being put on the market. And so when one sees a record year in 2021, that was really business that we achieved at the end of 2020 into early 2021. So we're already into our production of 2022 because we had to receive those commitments in advance. So really, when I talk about what I see, I know what we have in the pipeline and what our customers have committed to. I'm very pleased to say every program that we had in 2021 has been repeated in 2022. So by pure inference, we've got to hit a certain number minimum, and we've got a lot of growth. We brought on licenses like Tumi, who is the high-end luggage travel division of Samsonite. That impact of that license was not part of our 21 numbers. That's going to be onboarded in 2022. So we're excited to see what that brings. There's another company, Spring Mills. They do home furnishings, and they did a contract with us recently. So 2022 brings them online and gives them growth potential with our technologies. So, and we continue to be in conversation with other market leaders in product segments that we've never done before. So when we feel bullish about going from 11 to 20 to 30 and 40, we really are not basing it on trying to promote a story, because when we open our mouths, we've got to perform. And so we really have a phenomenal ramp up in terms of what 2022 and beyond looks like. Now, the other key important factor to understand is our latest press release, because I'm sure Paul will tell you we're a rather silent company when it comes to press releases. We don't just blow smoke for the sake of pacifying somebody for a 10-minute read, and we're not going to do that. We were the company that approached about 5 years ago EPA to develop what we call the next level kill claim, because right now there isn't a company in the world that is allowed to make a pathogen-specific kill claim on textiles registered with the United States Environmental Protection Agency. We went to them. They said, we don't have a protocol to give you what you're looking for. They said, we invite you to help us write the protocol. It took us about 2 years with our internal team and some external consultants, and we put together a successful application, and they actually have adopted it. So what we wrote is now US law. So what company is better to achieve those goals than the company that wrote the protocol itself? And I'm pleased to say that we just released the announcement that we're expecting our final registration any moment, and certainly within this quarter. And after a 5-year journey, multiple millions of dollars, and a lot of science and a lot of development, we believe that, and it is very important for me to say this, every projection that I've spoken about prior to this statement was without us receiving EPA. So growth was coming whether we got EPA or not. I can't fathom what this is going to do to our growth in the latter part, because certainly the day you get it isn't, you're not going to get an order the next day. But we've had customers, they've actually developed brands awaiting us getting this registration. So there's product on the shelf already with this level of chemical in it. Once we get the registration and our CAS number, we'll be able to put it on a hang tag with our new kill claim ability, and that they can now market that with their products. So it's a great impact for our business. It's a great impact for our customers' business, which is just a great partnership with market leaders that we have. In addition to that, early February, which is a week away, we're going to be starting a clinical trial in California. So while we have EPA almost culminating at the same time, we believe that the medical market would appreciate and really see what in the real world how this performs at a hospital. So, and that's why we're doing the clinical trial. And we honestly believe that we're going to be the only company within months that are going to have an EPA kill claim, the only company in the world with an EPA kill claim and a clinical trial. And with that said, we believe that what we really got into this business in 2007 will finally come to fruition, which is going after the medical market. So while we have to really just get commercial, we went after the sportswear industry, and gymnasiums and the professional ball clubs have had all kinds of problems with MRSA and C. diff, and you haven't even heard me use the word COVID. So, and what the world will look like post-COVID, if one listens to the medical community, the big fear is bacterial infection, not viral infection. So we have spent the predominance of our time and money and research on viral infections. So having the ability to have a kill claim on antiviral and antibacterial, really, it's phenomenal. It sets us in a time and space. Will the competitors try and emulate us? Will they try to reverse engineer? Will they try to do everything to figure out what we've got? Absolutely. It's an obvious statement, and we're well aware of it. What they're not aware of is that we're already working on next generation product. So there will always be a catch up, and we're not going to rest on our laurels, and we will be looking to continue to up the bar, so to speak, in terms of what we offer the marketplace. We've had, and I think it's also important to note, there has never been, and there isn't, the ability internally in our company to do any medical or science testing ourselves to come out with a statement. Every statement that is borne by our sales and staff and myself is based on third-party independent testing. So it is based on that level of comfort that our customers have, and they've done their own testing, that our products do what they say they do, and they continually beat anything else that's in the marketplace. So if we're not relevant to them, we don't have a future with them. And we're onboarding more and more global leaders as we speak, which speaks to the science and the actual empirical data that we've been able to achieve, and what our team has got such a phenomenal record is taking our customers' products and really using inline production facilities able to add our chemical attributes and performance attributes to their products, which give them a leg up in their individual marketplaces, which is really clearly why they're going after us. In addition to all of this, we've done so well developing products for other retailers and for other brands. And while we've continually upped our margin and our GP is looking better and better, there's nothing like doing it for yourself. So within 2 to 3 months, we will have our own brand with our own products, with our own apparel, from underwear to outerwear, in the marketplace that we're going to sell direct to consumer. And what we've spent 10 years developing, we are now going to do in addition to what we supply to our customer base. We are going to enjoy the fruits of our labor by and you know, with tremendous margin potential. One can see when one puts all these various pieces together, to take this from 20 to 30 to 40 is really a matter of getting it out there. And finally, we did a raise last year. We were oversubscribed. We wanted to raise 5 million. We landed up raising 11.5, which we've retained. We've put the cash to good use. We retained quite a bit of it still. We are capable of internally right now, between cash and assets and receivables, of putting our hands on at least 20 million in cash. So when I say that we can take this business to 30 and 40 million, we don't need money. We don't need, we're just in a really, really strong balance sheet. Our receivables are 5 times our payables. By importing, you literally have to pay for everything in advance. So whatever we have in inventory is paid for. We really have an under-leveraged balance sheet. And it really it's an exciting time for us. We've worked hard to get ourselves into a profitable place, into a growth phase in many dynamic markets. And can't wait to see what 2022 and beyond brings for our business.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Hylton. I want to remind everybody that's listening, if you've got any questions you'd like me to ask Hylton, anything more you want to know about IFA, please use the chat function at the bottom and we will ask your question. Why don't we just jump right into it? I mean, you did have a very solid 2021. This EPA announcement sounds fantastic. A long time coming. You sort of mentioned that 2022 is going to be. Looks like you got good visibility and you expect some strong numbers. Your business is really built on innovation. You've got some new products coming out that you're gonna basically brand yourself. How does an investor view your sort of R&D strategy? Like what else can you guys do? What new innovations are down the road?
What we're actually doing in terms of, besides the apparel and besides the market approach, is we have actually taken and it's really by the eyes of people seeing what the science does, is we've actually been approached by people that do plastics, that do injection molding, and the breadth of product that is made with injection molding, from door handles to pens to literally, everything we touch is injection molded, kids' toys. And with I don't want to use the word phobia, I'd rather use the word the sensitivity of the world right now to pathogens, wherever we can incorporate some additional level of protection, it's a great marketing story for the company, but there has to be something real behind it. You've got to have some level of protection. You can't just put it as a marketing story. So we've got some pioneers, and we've actually got some European companies that are outside of our textile space who have seen our R&D, and we've actually passed what they call their trial phase, and now we're working with their commercial team to see how to take that science with their manufacturing and put it into their products. So what's really going to happen in the next, I would say in the next year or two, is we're no longer going to be intelligent fabric technologies. We're going to be intelligent technologies, because we're going to go outside of soft surfaces. And so we're going to be slow, we're going to be methodical, and we're going to make sure that when the companies and our customers put out their next product, it will have gone through due diligence beyond, and it will have a long time life longevity to it. So we're really not just going to jump in, try something, it works for 6 months and it's gone. There is so much time and work and money that goes into developing each individual product. In most cases, when we develop something, you don't get it right the first time. You might not get it right the second time. So we continue to increase, we redo a recipe, and that takes time. And as long as we keep going up and getting better and better results until we get the result we're looking for. So yeah, we've got a phenomenal team of dynamic innovators. And I think that's really, as I said, even if the competition comes after us, we've got next level chemicals in the work. We're not going to sit on our laurels. We will continue to push ourselves to stay relevant continually.
I mean, one of the things I find your business so appealing is you've got a very solid core business right now but the innovation and the new products and just the potential of new products, I think is gives investors such a tremendous upside. Let's where are we here? Well, okay. Well, listen. Let's go back to the EPA approval announcement here. Give us a sense, like what kind of addressable market do you have with a kill claim? What does that really, how big could that market be?
It's a question. It's the only question you can give me that I can answer, because it's, clearly internally we're beyond excited to get to this point. And when we internally try to have this conversation, it's mind-boggling in terms of whether it's a Kimberly-Clark, whether it's a Cardinal Health, whether it's a Medline, it's hospital, it's hospitality. It's so broad in terms of where that can go. It really, we could be $100 million company in 5 years. EPA could take us that quickly, that much further down the line. It's really an exciting time. It's hard for me, Paul, to put a number on. It's exponentially going to blow the doors off where we are today.
Yeah, it's big.
It's
clearly big. Yeah, but another neat thing about your business is that you theoretically you're not really doing it on your own. You've got some very high profile sort of clients or customers right now, brand names that everybody here would recognize. Who can you mention here, just to give everybody a sense of sort of the scope of more or less your distributors? These guys are going to be going and announcing these claims on your behalf, right?
Yeah. Well, the first name that I can mention, because we've mentioned it many times in public, it's called SPI. They now have changed their name to Charismatic. They're out of California, and they own quite a number of brands in the scrub marketplace. Not only that, but they manufacture most of, in fact, I'm not sure of whether it's all, but I know it's the predominance of all the scrubs that are private labeled at Walmart. So they have actually, and once again, we've announced this, they put $1 million US into our company years ago because they wanted to be ahead of everybody else. So in a small scrub market segment, they actually do have exclusivity from us. And I think it was only from the time we get EPA, it's either 18 months or 2 years, I don't know. So we didn't do it with a long window, but that's how excited they were years ago. And truth be told, they've been actually manufacturing their product that they've been shipping to their customers with the level of efficacy that the EPA require already in their product, but they can't say anything until we get this thing, and they can just literally the next day print labels, Swift ticket onto a garment, and the garment already in the warehouse ready to go with the next level of kill claim. So they have, and you got to understand that these companies are not just looking at us. Their doors are being knocked down by every one of our competitors, from Dow Corning to you name it, who are the big players in the chemical business. And they are as excited as we are in terms of what that's going to do to their business. So while they've been manufacturing product and developing it with it, they've been they can't market it. So it's really very little. All they can say is we've put some kind of an antibacterial thing on this, to a company, but they really can't get it out into the usable and put the marketing out there behind it. So they are clearly, I think they're close to $400 million company in California. We're going to help them grow further. So they're excited. We have a phenomenal relationship with the VF Corp, and specifically our first customer. We have more than one division that use our chemicals exclusively, but the company in their division that does a phenomenal business with us is Under Armour. Is the North Face, excuse me, the North Face. And the North Face are really, and here we go. So this is where another area of growth is very exciting. The North Face came to us because of the antibacterial, but what the North Face are really interested in, if anybody, and I'm sure nobody in this room is not familiar with them, they're all about ski jackets. They're all about outerwear. They're all about winter product. So they asked us to develop a fluorocarbon-free, a C0 water repellent. It's called a DWR, in the industry, durable water repellent. They do 100 million yards of fabric a year with some form of repellency. Now, fluorocarbons, there used to be a C8, and you heard about Teflon, and you know what happened in the world where people were getting cancer and all kinds of sicknesses because of the fluorocarbons and the inhalation of fluorocarbons, and it's carcinogenic. So the industry really mandated itself to develop a C0. Well, we've developed a C0 that it's not very durable to washing. So, you know, you're not going to take your $1,000 North Face jacket and wash it every day the way you're washing your regular clothing. So they really don't need that level of washability the same way you would, you know, whatever shirt you're wearing and underwear. So that obviously requires a far higher level of durability to washing. So with that limitation, we were able to give them the highest performance C0 carbon free. They spend 40 million a year on the chemical in their business. If we took 50% of that business, I've just met my statement for you of doubling 20 to 40 with one account. It really illustrates the excitement of bringing on 3, 4, 5. It's not about bringing on 20 or 50 or 100 new customers to grow this business by 10 and $20 million.
It sounds like it. I mean, listen, you touched on a question that just came in as far as like washing or washability of the product. And the question I've got here, might as well ask it now. Listen, scrubs get washed a lot. How many washes before the kill claim wears off? Okay.
So this is by EPA's ruling. So this is nothing from the company. EPA mandate, it's called the Aatcc 100 standard. And that requires a certain temperature, 135C, for so many minutes. It's actually an industrial wash. It's not even a home wash standard, because our home washing machines and dryers don't get up to the level of temperature and aggressive chemical that happens in commercial laundries. So we had to pass 100 wash test. And when we talk about 100 uses, now here's something to keep in mind when one talks about scrubs. Most scrubs are not owned by the nursing or the doctors. They're supplied by the hospitals. And who supply the hospitals? The laundries. So really the customer at the end of the day is the laundry industry. And we've had meetings with K-Bro in Winnipeg, and they've got throughout Canada, they're the largest supplier of bedding and scrubs to the hospitals, and they do 150 million kilos or pounds. It's an astronomical number. So we asked them the question, your inventory of scrubs or your linens, how many cycles do you use your product for? And we were quite flabbergasted by the answer they gave us. They use them for 6 months, and their turn is once a week. So they use that product 26 times, and we've got efficacy. What I'm saying is, when a fiber comes out, you know, when you dry your clothes in the drying machine, you know, you've got those little lint fibers. I'm trying to relate it as in those fibers that have come off your garment, you will still find our chemical. So it's actually not going to be the washing that's going to deplete our chemical from the garment. It's going to be the degradation of the textile. And I'm just going to throw one more thing in. The predominance of our antimicrobial and antiviral on man-made fibers, and the best fiber to put them in is polyester. When one makes and dyes polyester, and I just want to give a 3-second explanation. You heat it up to a temperature that it's like a hair. It opens up. You're opening up the fiber. You introduce your antimicrobial, antiviral technology and you cool it down. It is a mechanical locking. It actually doesn't require like an adhesive, for lack of a better term. It's that's why I'm saying it can't leach, it can't degrade in what. So we've tested it up to 100, and I'm telling you from what I know about textiles, you'd have to take it to the fiber level to take it out of the garment. So we've really done a phenomenal job of coming up with a technology that, as far as in my layman's language, it's locked in there for life.
Mm-hmm. That's impressive, and thanks for that. Listen, take a slight turn. There's another press release that you guys came out with in regards to a dispute in China with masks. Maybe tell the listeners what that's all about.
When COVID hit, we were approached because we've got our supply chain in China, and everybody was clamoring for masks at the beginning of COVID and going and freaking out because you just couldn't, and the price of the masks went so insane, and of course it's plummeted, but it's all typical economics. So what happened is we were given a contract for masks, and it was phased over a number of deliveries. And at that point in time, it was such a fast-moving market that if you didn't pay 100%, they weren't going to ship you the masks. So we did one contract. We paid 100% for the masks. They were delivered the right quality on time, and that was really our test. It was still $1.5 million, but it was a test order to see that this supplier was going to give quality in this crazy, what was going on with the world shutdown, that they were able to deliver on time. And we, based on our trial order, had no reason to believe that if we gave them a bigger order, they would be anything but forthright. Well, how sad we were. We gave them the next biggest order. We had to put down a lot of money, and they then said that they were having problems with their supply chain and hence weren't able to deliver the other masks. We, as an honorable company, went out and bought masks from another supplier. The prices had already started to come down, but because we actually paid for masks from another source and did the honorable thing and delivered every mask that was required of us to complete that program with our customer. So we, at our detriment. But at that time, we do everything with contracts. So in China, believe it or not, there is law. And so we have hired a pretty significant law firm in China, and they gave us a very high confidence level that we were going to win our case. Part of the contract stated that it had to go through what was called an arbitration hearing. And so we agreed to the arbitration hearing. It cost us another $100,000. And after really having technically in the short term lost the millions, we were prepared because we felt so confident that we were going to win the case. We got a ruling, I think it was early December, late November. I don't know the exact date now, excuse my memory, but I know because we made the statement shortly after we made it public. We got the ruling from the arbitration board, and then it had to go to a court. That's what took a little delay, but we got the ruling that the arbitration board categorically ruled in our favor. They not only ruled in our favor, they mandated a 12% interest on the payment from the date of the contract. All costs of our arbitration are now responsible for, and so we are now in the phase, and there's more legal back and forth that had to be done, and the paperwork has been flying between us and our lawyers in China to go after the money. So we now have a green light, and are we going to get back 100 cents in the dollar? Highly unlikely at the end of the day. There's going to be legal costs, dealing with lawyers. Everybody's got their hand. Are we going to get back the predominance of our money? There is, in my and our board's estimation, the answer is yes. That is actually an interesting thing because it's pure cash flow that just comes back to our bottom line. It's just bottom line cash to be used because we've honored the contract. Nobody's coming after us because we honored our commitment. So it's bottom line cash. If we get 75 cents, if we get 80 cents in the dollar in the end, US dollar to Canadian dollar, we'll be bringing back somewhere between 3 and 3.5 million back to our coffers, and we're going after it with hammer and tongs. We're hard at it to get as much money as soon as possible.
Good. Well, good luck with that. Hopefully, yeah.
I just want to add that Chinese law allows us not to only go after the company, but it allows us to go after the owners, the directors themselves. So we have actually put some legal proceedings in place to freeze assets of the directors. So please believe me, we're hard at it.
Yeah, good. Now, earlier you'd mentioned a clinical trial, and I had my notes here, but I didn't hear when you said that clinical trial is starting.
It was meant to start really a year ago.
Okay.
The problem and the reason try to make it quick, but the reason why we didn't do it is because the hospitals are doing such a higher level of cleanliness because of COVID that they are not operating in normal environments. So when one talks about an HAI is called a hospital-acquired infection. So people go into hospital for an appendix or whatever, they go in for surgery and they get these rather viral infections and people are losing their lives. And the statement is there's something like 100,000 people a year in North America that go into hospital and unfortunately, and there's many that suffer on top of that. So hospital-acquired infections are the problem that we're addressing at the hospital level. And I lost my train of thought of what I'm trying to.
Well, it was the clinical trial, the dates.
So
you said it was delayed.
There we go. So the clinical trial is going to show the hospitals, and that's why we waited a year. We're trying to let the dust settle and let them go back to a more normal cleaning regime. So they actually asked us to delay the clinical trial so that it is more relevant with a more normal, back to usual cleanliness regime as opposed to the high level that they were on. We are starting at Feb 1. It takes 4 weeks. The write-up should take about another 4 weeks. So we're looking at, I would say, 8 to 10 weeks. So at the very outside, with back and forth and whatever needs to be done, I'm saying within 3 months of Feb 1, we should have a clinical trial in our hands.
Perfect. Okay, so I saw another question came in here in regards to the sort of the chemical treatment that goes on to the fabric. Are there any environmental concerns with the treated clothing fibers from washing ending up in the wastewater?
Yeah, okay. And that's really been years our concern. So there's actually been you need 3 things. You need efficacy, you need durability to washing, and you need environmental concern. So our biggest competitor, which started in the 1950s, is silver. So silver came along in the 1950s, and in certain states and in certain formats, silver is very antibacterial. So if you've got a scalpel in surgery, do you want it to be coated in silver? Absolutely. There's actually some wound care that has got silver fibers to lower the load of bacterial infection. Lululemon, one of our customers, they went to a company in New Jersey called Aatcc, Noble Yarns, and their product is called Aatcc. So Lulu for years had this no stink product because you could actually see in every 4th or 5th line on their product, you could see this little shimmer, and it was nothing but a silver yarn in their garment. Well, it's 1950s technology. So what we did is we've really taken the whole science of, and silver in Europe is starting to be really mandated out of use because the effluents, the runoff from the dye house into the streams and rivers, once silver's there, silver will indiscriminately kill any bacteria. So the flora in the rivers is dying because of the being downstream of these dye houses. So silver is actually being outlawed in Europe, and North America always runs behind Europe. So we are of the belief it's only a matter of time before it crosses the pond, and we're going to start hearing laws about not using silver, and we do not use silver. So the kind of base chemical that we use has been used as in laundry, in hair washing products, going down the rivers and streams of America every day for the last 20, 30, 40 years. If I told you the name of the shampoo that uses it, most of you use it. So we've really, as I say, we've been concerned about things: class leading efficacy, durability to washing, and it has to be environmentally sensitive. And we've been able to achieve all three of those.
Okay, fantastic. Listen, I think we've covered quite a bit here. Certainly got caught up on my end. I'll ask one more time, I guess, sort of as we get ready to part here. But 2022, what sort of catalyst should investors watch out for? Clearly, the EPA announcement is going to be a big one for you. But what else should investors be looking for?
We're working with EPA. We're working with the clinical trial. We're working with two big names in Europe in very different product markets. One's a market segment we've been selling into, so there's a familiarity. The head of product development was just headhunted from a North American competitor to go over and help them in Germany, and you can figure that one out. And the other one is a French company that manufactures, as I say, it's now in hard products, it's injection, it's a whole different, and they've got their products in, if I mentioned, every person's held this product in their hand. It's a global company. So these are things we're working to put to bed, that we're looking to onboard. Our growth, our generic growth is coming, and our new onboarding customers is coming. 2020 should be nothing but a growth year. It's not going to be the real pop. We're going to go from 10 to 20 to 30, and then the growth is going to be in the 15 to 20 million a year range once we really get the next year under our belt. I saw a question pop up.
Yeah, I saw it slip in there as well.
So it's important. Shipping has, anybody that tells you they haven't been affected by shipping is a liar. We're doing our best. We're ordering product 2 to 3 months ahead of time. Thank goodness we're actually not in fashion product. So whether we sell it in spring, autumn, or fall, when you're in underwear, when you're in base layer, when you're in products that are really not fashion color, it saves us, and we're not experiencing any casualties from the shipping aspect. I will also just throw this in. I know you guys want to go. Over the holidays, we just renovated our own building in Markham. I took away 50% of our offices because, I don't know how many people on the call, but certainly me, half the time we're working from home. So we did, and I've now added 6 to 8 container capacity to our already big warehouse in anticipation of growth. So we're looking to grow, and we're doing everything. As I say, we've got the financial wherewithal to do it. And I'm just really proud of the team we've put together. 2022, 2023 can't come quick enough for us. It's going to be generic growth and new customers as well, and new segments that we're going after. There's a lot going on.
Sounds exciting. Hylton, we always try to give you guys a chance, any kind of parting message. I know we've covered a lot, but is there absolutely anything else you want to make sure that everybody leaves with today?
It sounds crazy. We've been public for 10 years. I think we went public too soon, to be honest. We're just getting going. I think that our stock is is not representative of who we are and what we're going to achieve in the next year or two. I think this company, and who's to know within a year or two, if some, mega company wants to buy us out at some stupid price, hey, give them my phone number, please. We're really doing dynamic stuff. We really are. We're not a follower. We're really trying to beat our own drum and be pioneers in these market segments and be relevant to the markets we service. And I think our growth potential is really hasn't even been seen yet of what we're able to go, what we've been able to grow.
Well, listen, I'm very excited. I know a lot of our listeners, if they've heard me, they know I'm a big fan of what you guys are doing. Nice core business. You guys have lots of catalysts and a lot of optionality with new products and new markets. So we're really excited to see what 2022 brings for us. If anybody wants more information, what's the best way to contact you? Maybe a website or an email address? What do you suggest?
Our website is www.iFabriccorp, the name is behind me, .com. And feel free. I try to make myself as available to people as possible. Paul, you, anybody who really wants to write to me or call me, I will make myself available.
Fantastic. So we've been speaking to CEO Hylton Karon of iFabric, symbol IFA on the TSX. Hylton, I want to thank you so much for being with us today.
We're also on the OTC. The US is a push that we're going to be making as well this year.
Give us the symbol. What's the symbol on the US?
It's IFABF.
There you go. IFABF.
BF on the OTC QX.
Perfect. Again, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.